Thank you so much for hanging out with us on the Gee and Ursula Show. I hope your Monday is off to a great start. Are schools doing everything possible to get kids back in the classroom? And if not, are they at least offering safe extracurricular activities, or could they be doing more right now? The Kent School District has just pushed back the start of any athletics to the end of February if sports return at all. So how are students and coaches feeling about that? We are now joined by someone who can tell us. He is Justin Callander, a math teacher and the head football coach at Kent Meridian High School. Good morning, Justin.
Good morning. How are you guys doing today?
Good. Thank you so much for joining us. So, first of all, what were you told? What did the district tell parents and students on Friday?
Well, they emailed us, a mass email that came from our district office saying that school or sports won't be played as of right now, with the possibility of going back on February 22nd. And that's a tentative date, which is, that could move forward. It could move backwards. I was told that probably won't move forward at all. And so hopefully we find out something before then that we can start on the 22nd with, some in-person training and kind of get ready for the seasons that the WIA put forward for the first season.
Coach, first of all, I just want to say thank you for joining us. And not just thank you for joining us, but thank you for being a head coach over there at Kent Meridian High School. I lived right there. I lived right in those apartments that's right there by French Field. And let me ask you this. What are you seeing? What are you seeing right now that what are your kids going through because of not having activities? Talk about that.
Well, first of all, it's my pleasure to be the coach at Kent Meridian. I love the school. I'm the blessed one. But I'm seeing kids that are trying to get out there and do stuff. I'm seeing kids that are, they're bored. I have a son who's a junior in high school, and he's doing the best that he can. He's hanging out with friends as he can. Our guys are hanging out with their friends, and they're trying to organize stuff. But I know that they're I wouldn't say depressed. They're bummed. This is something that this isn't high school. You and I didn't go to high school like this, and they are. And so it's something that they're not used to. And so I know that one thing that everybody was looking forward to, including me as an adult, was getting back to some sort of normalcy with sports. I've been part of football since I was 12 years old. That's unfortunately it's 21 years or 31 years. So, I've and it's a long, long time. And I think that people were ready to get back. We kind of had that carrot in front of us, and we were working towards it. And, I know other coaches in the region have been meeting with their kids and kind of getting ready. And, we've been doing all that. And I've been meeting with my coaching staff every, once or twice a week and going over stuff. And, we're ready. And I know the kids are ready. They've been working out. They've been doing what they can. Whether it's, doing body weight lifting at home or, some of them were able to afford to pay for a personal trainer and they're going that route. But, they're ready. And I think a lot of them feel hurt that, they were told no, while, their friends and neighbors in Tahoma or Auburn or Federal Way or the school districts Renton, they're all going back and we're not.
What do you
hurt them?
What are you afraid of? What are you afraid of if these kids don't get back out there?
Well, selfishly, I'm afraid of having kids go to another school, which I don't blame them. Sports aren't the end-all, be-all, but a lot of our kids, sports are the reason why they go to school. And we've seen that with the way the grades are right now. Unfortunately, there's a lot of kids across the entire country, not just Washington State, that are struggling with their grades, and online learning isn't for everybody. It's for some people, but it's not for everybody. So I know a lot of the kids are struggling, and I'm afraid of losing contact with the kids. I became an educator and a coach, one to impact lives, and I feel like that has been diminished. I'm not impacting the lives like I want to, and I know other guys out there and women coaches are not able to impact the lives like they want to, and that's the hardest part. We worry about our kids like they're our own. And I know that a lot of them are out there struggling, whether it's, lack of food or, lack of resources that they had when they were in school. And so I think that's the biggest thing.
Coach, you are also a math teacher, so I want to talk about that. What is the feeling in the Kent School District? We haven't covered that much. We hear a lot about Seattle and then also statewide, the teachers union and the talk about teachers not wanting to return. What is the situation in the Kent School District? Are you any closer to getting students back in the classroom?
I know that there are things, obviously this is way above my pay grade, but I know there's a lot of people that want to go back. I know there's a lot of people that are concerned if certain things aren't in place. And so, I hear that, people want to go back as long as, X, Y, and Z are done. And, whether that's having proper PPE, in the classrooms, if that's a hybrid model, or is everybody going to have the vaccine shot? I think there's a lot of things that need to happen before people want to go back to school wholeheartedly. I know there's a percentage that don't want to go back until it's all gone. And then, there's also people that want to get back because, they miss the kids. So I think it's all over the board. I don't think that there's, it's not a 50-50 by any means. I think there's people that are in the middle. There's, people on one end of the spectrum and there's people on the far end of the other spectrum. And so I honestly don't feel there's any cut answer as to what people want.
So I understand that the district has said, maybe it's not formally said, but it has stated in an email that until they can safely offer limited in-person instructional services to students, I'm guessing that's a hybrid model, the Kent School District will not offer any type of athletic and activity services. How do you argue against that statement?
Well, I would argue in the fact that, once we can kind of get back, if we get back into having athletics, and that includes, band and cheer and all that too, is maybe there's going to be some sense of normalcy for the kids and we'll get them on a schedule. I mean, I reach out. We don't start class until 8:30 in the morning. I have a lot of my football kids in my classes, and I call them. It's 8:29. Weren't you in class? And the kids are staying up all night playing video games or watching TV or doing whatever, teenage kids do. And so I think if we can get back into sports, we'll be on a schedule, and we can kind of flip that into, having some sense of normalcy, and the kids can start getting, back into academics as being a forefront. Because right now, I think, if you're an athlete and there's no chance of playing any sports, I mean, I've had, unfortunately, and this is terrible, kids are like, why am I even bother coming to class, coach?
Bingo.
And that's a terrible thing. God, I mean, it hurts me to even have to answer that question. Like, well, you got to, sports are a small part of your life. I mean, in 4 years from now, you could be a dad. You could be, you could be in college. I mean, and not playing any sports. So, I mean, you want them to see the light at the end of the tunnel, and like, this is just a small part of your life. And, I'm trying to put you in a position to succeed out there in the real world.
Well, Coach, man, we really appreciate you taking the time, and I know that I'm going to do my best to speak on your behalf, on the kids' behalf, and all the kids of Kent to be able to get out there and play sports. And really appreciate your time, and thank you for what you do for the community and for coaching that team, sir.
Thank you very much. I appreciate everything you guys do, and go Royals.
Go,
Yes.
Go Royals, no doubt about it. Ursula, before we wrap, I want to say something in how, like, I know that there are people like, oh, you get your priorities straight. Sports isn't everything and all that. I got to tell you, there are a lot of people that are motivated, or it helps them stay motivated, or it helps them go to class, it helps them do better in school because of sports. I mean, Ursula, hey, I'm preaching to the choir with you.
Yeah.
Your kids were involved in sports.
I was
and
a football mom.
You sure were.
Yeah.
And you know how important it is.
Absolutely.
And especially right now. Look, kids not back in the classroom, okay. But if you have an opportunity for these kids to get out there, it is better. And just recently, last week, Ursula, I was able to go up there and see my youngest son, Zion, work out with Sumner up there, Sumner High School. And the kids were out there. And I got to tell you, my oldest son, Baby G, we were out there. And you know what my son, what Baby G said? He said, Dad, this is so fun to watch. I said, why? He said, because when you get to college, it's so much of a business and it's so hard. He says, look at these kids smiling. He said, Dad, you don't smile like this in practice when you get to college. He says, look at these kids having fun. And he was right. These kids need to be out there. They are going through a pandemic and are struggling. And I really hope the Kent School District reverses their decision on this and understands the impact that they can have with that decision. Let's do scenarios next, my friend.
Sounds good.
You guys are listening to the Gee and Ursula Show.